Thank God nothing happened, and thank God I had like a crew and actors that were willing to risk their lives and go into those landscapes.
Vámonos. Time to go to America.
Hey, agáchate.
Welcome to the land of the free.
Okay, we've seen border stories, but nothing quite like this one, where we have a man hunting down migrants across the desert. What kind of a task was it to shoot in the desert?
It was a nightmare, and I think it was partly my fault. I'd never done a movie before this, and I've always loved hiking. So when I went out to look for deserts, I just grabbed my backpack and I looked for the most beautiful landscapes I could find. The problem is then I brought my producers and they wanted to kill me because all these locations were like 2 hours driving in a dirt road, and from there we had to carry the equipment. There were snakes everywhere, intense heat. The movie called for a lot of action, but we didn't have a lot of budget, so Gael and Jeffrey ended up doing a lot of their stunts. In retrospective, it was a very irresponsible film, but thank God nothing happened. And thank God I had like a crew and actors that were willing to risk their lives and go into those landscapes.
I'm equating the villain in this movie, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, to Donald Trump, basically. What's your thoughts on that whole thing, especially with this movie?
The sad thing is that, like, it's, yes, but also, like, the villain just in general represents this rhetoric of hatred towards the foreigner, towards the migrant. And the sad thing is that, like, Donald Trump is not the only politician who uses migrants as scapegoats. Like, when my wife showed me the video in which Donald Trump announced his race, I thought it was a joke. You know, because he said incredibly racist things. But then the sad thing is other politicians start saying the same thing. Right. In Europe, politicians are saying the same things. So to me, you know, it's easy to point towards Donald Trump because he's obscene, but like the sad thing is he's not the only one. And it's a rhetoric that it's not only everywhere in political discourses, but now we also are seeing it in society, you know, like when the trailer came out in December, from December till now, if you go into the YouTube page, the amount of incredibly racist comments in response to the trailer like shocked me. Comments like, let's make the Mexicans pay for those bullets, I hope the American kills them all, I wish the Border Patrol acted like this. So all of that like just demonstrates that like these speeches that politicians are using are just pushing the vulnerable parts of society to where Jeffrey's character was pushed.
All right. Scary about humanity. And then I read you said that the best advice you would give other filmmakers is trust your instincts. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that when you make a film, it needs to be almost like a necessity to do that film, to tell that story. Because, you know, I mean, the process of putting together a film is very painful. Like one day you're ready to shoot, the next day the whole thing collapsed. It's filled with up and downs. I mean, in my case, maybe more than normal because it was my first film, so it was even harder to put together. But even watching my dad put together Gravity it was like a very excruciating experience. So I do feel that unless you have a necessity to do that film, you end up giving up because it's very painful and a very long process.